afternoon, everyone. My name is Vineet Bajaj, and I am from Algonquin College. I manage the region of the Indian subcontinent in South Africa. Algonquin College is a public college, is a government college. That means every student who studies from Algonquin College qualifies for a post-study work permit, depending on the length of your program. Algonquin College has been in existence since 1967, so quite an old college. It's not a new college that has just come up. It has been there since 1967, and we do have quite a strong student population. Our student population at this point sits at approximately 24,700 students. Along with the student population, what is really important here to be mentioned is that in addition to the population, you also need to be aware that Algonquin College has approximately 25% of its population that is international. And out of international, that is approximately 6,500. The population of Indian students sits anywhere between 12 to 1,400. And at the same time, the community is only getting stronger and stronger when it comes to Indians by the population and the ones who've chosen to go and live in Ottawa. I would simply like to also apprise you here that whenever we think about Canada, the first thing that comes to our mind is Toronto or Vancouver, and we are not unaware of that. We are absolutely aware of that. I would like to, however, also give you a good heads up or a hint as in how you want to take it, that please try and target a place that is not saturated or nearing its saturation, so that you still have enough prospects for yourself over there to find a good place to live, to find a decent job. And why only think about while studying or before studying? Also after studying, you can call it home after you establish a career over there. The problem with Toronto and Vancouver today that is only emerging and is fast emerging is that the population is growing so rapidly, which is having a negative impact on the cost of living for a new student like yourself. Something that you get in Toronto for about $1,100 to $1,200 a month, you get the same thing in Ottawa when we talk about living costs for about $700 to $800, at the max $900. So that is one saving for you on a per month basis. That is just one component of your entire expense that you do outside of your tuition fees. As far as job prospects are concerned, job prospects is also impacted by the living costs, and the living costs over here are reliant on population, and so is the job prospect. The job prospects would always be directly proportional to the population of a particular town. If the population is growing, then you will see that the job prospects negativity will start growing as well. That is that if one job gets advertised, there would be probably multiple folds number of people wanting to take that job in a place like Toronto or Vancouver, which is densely populated as compared to Ottawa. So because there'll be less applicants for a job or application, your chances of getting that job automatically rise significantly. That's something that you need to really, really understand by and large. And again, cost is there, job prospects are there, and again, quality of life is also something. When we talk about quality of life, I would like to just give you one example that cities that are densely populated also have fast emerging problems of traffic jams. I know Canada hasn't reached to a level where we can call it a polluted city like a city in India. However, traffic jam is something which is only and only a growing concern of residents of Toronto, residents of Surrey, residents of Vancouver, and places around that. So that is something that we don't see coming in Ottawa anytime soon, because our population graph is growing, but it's not growing to a level anytime soon of where Toronto stands at this point. So that is also something that you will be able to, in real sense, maintain a good work-life balance. And when I say good work-life balance, if your work finishes at 4:30, you should be home reasonably by, say, 5:15, 5:30. It should not be that your work finishes at 4:30 and it takes you almost 6:30 to get back home. So that is something that you also have to look at from a long-term aspect. and that is there absolutely in your favor in Ottawa as well. Ottawa as a city has been always known as the capital of the country. However, there is another very strong factor to Ottawa, and that is the main industry of IT in Canada exists in Ottawa. So Ottawa is actually the Bangalore of Canada, as in the IT hub of Canada. Currently, we have 1,800 plus IT companies in Ottawa alone, and this number is rapidly growing as well. So what that means in turn is that absolutely for IT professionals, IT graduates, Ottawa would be a very fertile market, but also it should not be seen as only restricted to IT professionals. What you also need to understand today is that if there is an IT company, let's say an IT company like an IBM or an Amazon that exists in Ottawa, they don't only employ people from IT industry. They employ HR professionals, they employ marketing professionals, they also employ people for business administration and logistic purposes. So all of this does create a lot of jobs, and that's where you need to get your hands on to this particular industry as well. And this is a prospect that you should certainly keep in mind. Now, moving on from this major industry that we already have over there, also I would like to talk about some of the other major disciplines that Algonquin provides. There are 5 major disciplines that Algonquin provides, and these are our different faculties that we have within Algonquin. We have our School of Business, which of course, as the word suggests, I'm sure you all are aware, is the School of Commerce. Then we have our School of Hospitality and Tourism. Then we have our School of Advanced Technology. Then we have our School of Construction, which has all the construction, architect and civil side of things. Then we have our School of Health and Allied Sciences. And then we have our School of Media and Design. So these are the 5 major schools that we have within Algonquin. And there are 3 campuses that we have at Algonquin College. We have our Ottawa campus, we have a Pembroke campus, and we have our Perth campus. All these campuses are within the province of Ontario. The main campus is in Ottawa, and then we have a campus in Perth, which is about 50 minutes drive. So 50, just under 1 hour drive from the Ottawa campus. You can also enroll over there if you need. Then we also have a Pembroke campus, which is about 1.5 hour drive from the Ottawa campus as well. So that is also something you can choose from. By and large, Algonquin, guys, is quite a big college. Algonquin, of course, named as a college, but we are in size, in population, in program offerings, in reputation. We are sometimes considered to be even bigger than private universities in Canada itself. And I'm not only talking about Ontario, this is Canada-wide, because when you have 24,000 students, your campuses are as large as 22 acres and 16 buildings in one campus. Then of course you are considered to be quite big, and this is something which is strongly in our favor. Another very important statistic that I'd like to share with you about Algonquin College, which is of course a feel-good factor for our students today who have graduated from Algonquin, that we have a 94% graduation rate, and out of a 94% graduation rate, we have 84% students who are able to secure full-time employments in less than 6 months after graduating from the college. Given the current employment rate of Canada and North America, this is one of the highest in the country that a government college has ever been able to produce. So it is 84% employability within 6 months of graduating from the college in the field that you have studied at Algonquin College, which becomes all the more important because getting a job, believe you me, is not very difficult. But what is essential today is to get a job in the field in which you study. If you get a job, you could simply do an engineering program and after that become a cab driver. Now, no offense to the cab drivers, but what do you need being a cab driver? You need a driver's license, you need to know how to drive, and you need to know a basic, courtesy rule as to how you should deal with your passengers in your car. But again, the fact is, are you really using the skill that you've attained in Canada or what you wanted to once become? So that is why it becomes really important that not only do we have a good employment rate, we also have an employment rate which is directly proportional to the discipline in which you've studied in the college and in Canada, in which you've spent all the time and money while you were in Canada. So this is where we currently stand. That's about Algonquin. So this is Amandeep. This is going to conclude my discussion about Algonquin. What I would now recommend is that all the students or the staff members are welcome to type their questions in the chat, and Amandeep can relay those questions to me. I would answer the questions one at a time. I would simply request you guys to be patient for your question to be addressed. The reason why I would not want anyone to be unmuted and to verbally ask their questions is because since this is the new mantra, we've been doing these fairs quite a lot, and it has been seen that wherever we give consent for all the attendees to speak, it becomes a bit of a chaos. And that is the reason why, to maintain the decorum of the session and for everyone to benefit from this session, we would like to absolutely keep it only through the chat. Please start typing your questions in the chat, and Amandeep from Pyramid eServices will be relaying your questions to me, and I'll be answering the questions. Amandeep, are you available here?
Yep.
Okay, great. Great. So keep an eye out for the questions and start relaying them to me, please.
Sure. So I have got a very first question from a student. Student name is I hope I pronounce it right. It's Jumismita Das. She wants to know about research programs at the college. She has specifically typed PhD courses, but I'm a little unsure if we do have them. But if you can talk about the research programs that are available at the college.
So unfortunately, we don't actually do a lot of research and things like that in Canada at college level. To be honest, this is purely a university genre that you should be focusing on the universities for. At Algonquin, we don't actually have research and applied research programs at this point in time, unfortunately, like many of the Canadian colleges. So I would simply suggest that you should speak to the counselor at Pyramid eServices and see what your alternate options in Canada are, purely on the basis of the research that you're wanting to pursue.
So next question is from a student called Ritik Solanki, and the student is requesting to know about the requirements, the academics and IELTS requirements precisely after 12th for diploma programs.
Okay, so this is a question that again everyone needs to hear me out very clearly, because many times we see that students ask the same question over and over. I don't mind answering the question, but it should only be for people who joined the session late. For the ones who've been in the session right from the beginning, I would sincerely request, please hear me out clearly. If you are coming from class 12th in India, you need to have at least 60% as an overall percentage with no marks in any of the subjects less than 55 if you are a CBSE board student. Please hear me out. If you're a CBSE board student, 60% overall with no marks in any subject less than 55 in class 12. If you are a Punjab board or a state board student of Punjab, Haryana or Gujarat, these three states, Punjab, Haryana or Gujarat, then you need to have overall 65% with no marks in any subject less than 60. These are the requirements for class 12 students who are wanting to go to Canada for an undergraduate program. For students who have already completed their bachelor's or another degree in India, then the requirements are 55% overall percentage with no more than 6 backlogs if the degree was for 3 years, and no more than 8 backlogs if the degree was for 4 years. The percentage requirement remains the same, and that is 55%. Moving on to IELTS. If you are coming for a program that is a diploma or an advanced diploma or a certificate, then you need to have a minimum of 6 band in all 4: reading, writing, listening, speaking. If you are coming for a program that is classified as a graduate certificate or a postgraduate diploma, then you need to come with at least a 6.5 band overall with no band less than 6. These are the requirements.
Perfect. So There's another student with the name of Haritha Nair. The student wants to ask. She has completed bachelor's in speech language pathology and audiologist, and she would like to know which course would be possible for her at the college.
Well, for this discipline, we wouldn't have something that would be closely related, but what I would suggest or rather recommend is for her to also pen down her subjects in class 12th, so that I could take it on the basis of that and give her the closely related programs that we can offer. But she would have to do a little bit of homework in terms of programs that she can go for, because this is not a usual credential from India. This is a little unique,
right,
that she holds. So she can just put down her subjects in class 12.
She's asking if there is any course in services worker.
We do have social service worker, and that is something that she can definitely look at, or developmental service worker is also there. These are the two programs that we have in the service worker.
And I have messaged her to share her 12 score and 12 subjects. I believe the student is a super medical student, because she has done mathematics, biology, physics, chemistry as well, and her score has been 82% overall.
Okay, so if she's a biology student, then definitely she can look at all the medical options as well. Why only go for a service worker predominantly? Being a biology student, she has quite a lot of other options available to herself as well.
Vinitji, then there is another student with the name of Jeenu Chabra. She wants to know about the courses available for a student or for her after non-medical. She has done non-medical.
Yeah, so for non-medical students also, we have quite a lot of programs. We have all your engineerings available to you. If you want to have a change of field, and you want to move towards business, even that is available to you as an option. But again, I think your first preference should be non-medical programs of science. So we have all the major engineerings in IT. We have construction and civil. We have electrical. We have mechanical and electromechanical and robotics. All of that is available. So you can certainly choose from any particular engineering type, and all of that is available at Algonquin.
Jeenu, if you have another question to it, please type in your query. Vinitji, there is a query from one of my colleague actually. They want to know about Duolingo. Like, what is the status from college on that?
Yeah, so Duolingo is again a test that we were accepting when the COVID times started, but we stopped accepting it after the 30th of April. There are different reasons for it, but some of the main reasons are: A, Duolingo should only be seen as a test which will get you your offer letter, but not 100% the visa, because nowhere has IRCC actually mentioned that they will also be accepting Duolingo for study permit applications. So for us, we had received a large number of applications with Duolingo tests, which we honored. However, we had to discontinue accepting Duolingo because the only dilemma that was growing wider and wider was that what was going to happen to the students if they were to apply for a visa also with a Duolingo test, and the answer was unknown. And because there was ambiguity around that, we stopped accepting it any further after 30th of April. So if your application was lodged on or before 30th of April and you lodged it with Duolingo, you will be honored. However, post that, we are not accepting it until further notice.
So there's another query from a student. The query is if you can just talk a bit about the placements opportunities, like you mentioned about the the employment opportunities already. The student wants to know, like, how does the college provide placements after the college, and how it works out.
Okay, so what you've also got to understand is that in Canada, by and large, we don't actually have a concept as such of campus placements. However, Algonquin has some very strong partnerships that it already holds. Some of the names that I'd like to take are IBM, Connexa, BlackBerry, and Shopify, on which Amazon runs around the world. So these are These are some of the partnerships that Algonquin has, and our students repeatedly seem to get placed with these companies time and again. So it is purely the partnerships of the college where you are headed, and not anything called a campus placement that would make it any different for you from any other college. All the colleges would have the same thing, and that is that they would try to get you connected with their network of companies, and then it'll be between you and the employer. Also, what needs to be really paid attention to, and the students need to take this very seriously, is that if your program at all has a co-op involved in it, then please ensure that when you go on your co-op, you really work hard, so that if you get an opportunity, you should be absorbed by the same employer itself. Because many a times it has been seen that students who do well at their co-op are absorbed by the same employer and they don't have to look for another job outside once they finish their studies at Algonquin. And I think that probably should be the best possibility for anyone and everyone that they should try and make use of.
Right, sir. Right. Then we have another student query, which is the student has done 12th from National Open School, and the education has been in humanities.
So just to cut you there, Amandeep, this is also a message for everyone that guys, we don't accept any form of national open school learning, either in schooling or in bachelor's or in master's. If you have any qualification which is through correspondence, open school, distance learning, wherever there was not a regular college or classes involved, you are not eligible for Algonquin. We don't accept that.
All right. So we will make sure that the student is aware of that. The student name is Mujammil Salmani. Hi, I have applied to Algonquin. Okay, so the student has applied for the offer letter at the college already, but the student has not got the offer yet. Would we be able to get any status?
Yeah, so in terms of statuses, they are normally not given out at fairs. So what you'll have to do is you'll have to raise your query through Pyramid eServices, and they would send us an Excel of all the students who are awaiting their offer letters, and then someone from my team would apprise them of the situation, and then they can relay the message to you.
Sure. Mujammil will make sure that we connect with you, and I'm aware that Tariq ji is the branch head for Delhi, so we'll ensure that you get a heads up about the same as soon as possible. Further, there is a student, Guri. So the student says, hello sir, the student has passed MCOM already, and he wants your suggestion, like which program he should preferably look for at the college.
Okay, so if you've already done MCOM, the fact here is that you have studied, a master's degree here in India as well, which would, definitely make things a little difficult here. However, we would have to see what your IELTS score and your grades are. But being an MCOM student, you do have all the options of commerce, so you can go for any business program and at a master's level, be it a marketing management, marketing research and intelligence, human resource management, international business management. If you've had commerce background, then you can also go for accounting and financial practices, and last but not the least, brand management. These are all the programs in which you can enroll yourself. These are all postgraduate diplomas of 1 year each. So you will have to choose 2 of them in order to get the benefit of the 3 years post-study work permit.
There's another query from a student. The student wants to know about the scholarship opportunities and the co-op options.
Okay. So unfortunately at Algonquin, we're not providing scholarships at this point. You could only be considered for a scholarship in your second year or your continuing year at Algonquin. At the first year, we don't actually provide scholarships by and large. So you would have to wait for the next year to see what your chances of scholarship would look like.
Perfect. Okay. There's a student who wants to know about the application fee, and also if you can share something on the average tuition fee within that.
Application fees is $95, and average tuition fees for Algonquin is between $16,000 to $18,000 per year, depending on the program. It is quite a wide list, so for each program I won't be able to say, but again, between $16,000 to $18,000 is what you should keep in mind.
And then there is a question which actually is from a student, plus this is something which I would also like to know. That is, how is September and January looking right now? Like, how would it be delivered?
Yeah. Sure, certainly. So for September, we are more than clear that it is also going to be an intake which is going to be offered online. Chances of September being offered face-to-face are only fading away. However, it becomes really important for students to understand that please don't take online study options casually. Please don't take them as options which are not for you, because you have paid the fees to study in Canada. What you need to understand is that this also brings to you two benefits. One that I've already briefed you on, and the second one that I'm going to talk about now. But I will touch on both again, just in case some people have joined late. For an online option, the good thing, number one, the biggest bonus to you is that even if you are studying in India, sitting in front of your computer in the comfort of your house, it is going to be counted as a study in Canada when your work permit applications are going to be assessed. So the time studied in India will be treated as a time studied onshore in Canada, and that will be included in the time that you studied in Canada to meet the requirements of the 2 years of study to get the 3 years post-study work right. Number one. Number two, as you know that because of COVID-19 impact, the economies around the world are currently very volatile, and so is Canada, because of which cost of living, availability of housing, and job prospects for students while you are studying have been adversely impacted. Let that please come back to normal, and then it will be a better time to go to Canada. Canada is still the same place. However, economies around the world are putting pressures which absolutely make it not conducive for you to enter right now. But make the most of this time so that tomorrow you don't get trapped into another problem, that when you were getting an option to study online, you did not take the online option, and after that the seats started becoming not available to you. Why? Because many other students who actually had plans to come in January because they have not yet graduated, they were the ones who actually got through the seats the seats in January, and you missed the chance again. So now you will have to defer for another 6 months, and your plans, which could have started in September 2020 from the comfort of your home, will get delayed to as far as September of 2021. That is something that you need to keep in mind. So if you are getting an online option, please take that option in your favor, and please take that seriously.
So, but so far we don't have any status update for January, right? January is expected to
be... January, look, I'll be honest, January seems to be going face-to-face only. We don't see a lot of impact on January at this stage. So these students, even if they start their first intake in September here, more than likely will be doing their second intake in Canada itself.
Perfect. Right. And there's one interesting question from a student named Ritik Solanki. The student wants to know if there is any sports related course available at the college.
We do have sports and fitness management. That is one. And the other one is occupational therapy and physiotherapy. These are two programs that we have available.
Next is a question from Tushar, who's a student. He wants to know, if the college provides conditional offer letters, and what are the conditions accepted by the college.
Okay, so the college does provide conditional offer letters, especially in the COVID times when your documents are expected not to be complete because either the exams were delayed or the results didn't come out. So please lodge with your 10th mark sheet, 12th mark sheet. If you don't have a 12th mark sheet, then lodge with then you should lodge with a provisional, or what we call a predictive certificate from your school. We would also accept that, and lodge your application. As far as IELTS is concerned, if you're not able to give IELTS, then please try and give IELTS indicator, and we will try and accept you on an IELTS indicator as well. The score requirements remain the same, which I've mentioned earlier in the session for UG and PG both.
Right. Vinitji, there is a question from my end then. when we talk about IELTS indicator, would that be a feasible option while applying for a visa? Like there are some confusions with Duolingo.
No.
Right.
No,
That's only for the college.
Exactly. That's only for the college. But again, look, understand this as well, that, at least you will be able to save the time that it will take you to get the offer letter by using the IELTS indicator or Duolingo, whichever you have, whichever the college is accepting at that point, for at least getting the offer. Otherwise, what's going to happen is you will wait for the IELTS to open up. And by the time the IELTS opens up, you will only have 2 months left for the September intake. So you may get the offer, but you will definitely not get the visa, because the visa high commissions are going to be absolutely jam-packed.
Right. Perfect. Next query is the student. I hope I pronounce it right. It's Halcyon Sharma, and the student is already taking BIM course this September at the college. And he, because there are, if we talk about all the campuses in Canada, there are some courses which are going online, some are extended. So I think this query is based on that. So he wants to know about the specific program, like is it happening in September or
what is the program again? Sorry.
BIM.
Okay, building information and modeling design for now is happening online. If anything changes, you will be informed by the college, but for now it will go ahead online as well. That's what we've been informed last week.
Right, and there's a second query by the same student. So if he takes online classes, what would be the minimum Indian percentage?
What do you mean by?
Sorry, minimum attendance percentage. Percentage.
So attendance will go as per usual. There is no change in the should I say, decent requirements that the college would have to put you into the next year. So the requirement would remain the same. I mean, if you expect that, you don't want to be going on a class and your attendance will be marked as a present, even if you are sleeping in your house in India, that's not going to happen. You will have to attend the class, because again, if you fail the class, then the question would be that, okay, how much attendance did you have? And if you have poor attendance, there is no way you're going into the next class.
Right. Perfect. So, Vinitji, it's a query from one of my colleagues now. I'm a bit confused on that part. That's why I'm not answering him. So we do have, IELTS, the application fee waiver options, right? So if you can just touch base a bit on that.
Yeah, sure. So for application fee waiver, if you're a student who has a 7 band in IELTS with no bands less than 6.5, then you will have the application fee waived for you, which is usually $95 Canadian. That's one criteria. If you've just passed out of your year 12 and your percentage was 75 and above, and none of your subjects was less than 60, then you meet the requirements of an application fee waiver. So in that case, you don't get charged either. If you have just come from a bachelor's degree in India and your percentage is above 65 and you have no backlogs at all, then also you get the application fee waiver. So there are 3 criteria of application fee waiver that we apply, and these are the criteria.
So there is a student with the name of Preet, and though you have already touched bit about scholarship, but she joined the session late.
No problem.
Her query is that she's from non-medical stream and has a 70% score. Would there be any option of scholarship for the student?
So she's got 70%, not at 70%, unfortunately not, because even the ones that I've seen successfully getting scholarships have got either 8 bands in IELTS as high as that, and their percentages sit 80% and above.
Okay, so it would be tough to crack a scholarship.
It would be tough to crack the scholarship, clearly.
Right, no problem, sir. And further to that, there is a student named Tushar who has been asking quite a few queries.
Yes.
The student is actually in the final semester. Last semester is left, and obviously his result is not declared because of COVID. And the student is pursuing education from Delhi University and wants to know about graduate certificate programs, like in management. Like what options can he explore?
Okay, so in management again, has he specified in particular what sort of management? Because he could either go on the likes of project management, or he could go on to many management programs on a postgraduate level in the fields of marketing, in the fields of human resource, in the fields of brand management, and all of that.
Sorry to interrupt. The student has mentioned international business management.
IBM, yeah. So IBM is definitely a great program. I mean, a program that seems to have only an increase in the last 2 years, particularly in the employment prospects for students around the country. And that is something that one can consider on a very serious note as well as a suitable, program to begin with.
Perfect. So the bachelor's the student is pursuing is in finance and investment analysis. So I believe that should not be any problem for the student, right?
No, not really. That's fine, because he is by and large coming from the business discipline, and that should be fine.
Right. Perfect. Preet has not understood the answer to her query. Let me just give her an answer. Preet, Vineet ji has already mentioned that you would need at least 8 IELTS band score and above 80% to crack a scholarship. 70% would be a little tough to attain scholarship. I hope you got a clarity. If still not a clarity, you can message me again. So there is another query from one of my colleague from training office. Okay, if you can just shed some light on the academic gap acceptability for the programs that
Sure. So academic gap also are usually only of two kinds. One is after schooling and one is after bachelor's, or which is also seen as the gap between any two qualifications. At Algonquin, you might have different definitions around the country from different institutions, but because we want to keep our visa success rate as high as it sits right now, which is 94%, I would like to clearly mention that after class 12th, the maximum gap that we accept at Algonquin, it is 3 years. After your bachelor's degree, the maximum gap that we accept, or after any degree, the gap that we accept, a maximum is 5. By the stretching to the farthest also, we would not accept anything more than 7 years. So 5 to 7 years after the degree and 3 years after schooling. There is no more gap after that we'll be able to accept.
Perfect. And could you help us to understand on the 10 plus 3 options as well, if a student has done 10th and then 3 years diploma?
Yeah, so after 10 plus 3 also, the gap would remain the same, and that is a maximum of 3 years, not more than that.
Right. And just to clarify, so there is a acceptability for 10 plus 3, and the academic requirement would remain the same like
yes,
for 12.
Absolutely. Acceptability is 100% there, and the academic requirement would remain the same.
Vineet, there is a query from a student. Mm-hmm. Student name is Adil. The student has done graduation in journalism and mass communication. That's a 3 years program, and after that 2 years of job experience in the advertising industry. Mm-hmm. The current IELTS score of student is the student has not mentioned the overall 7.5 in speaking, 6.5 in listening, and 5.5 in reading and writing. So I want to.
So that is going to be a problem for us.
Yeah. So, but the student is saying the new IELTS score is he has already given IELTS again, and he's expecting the result on 1st of July, or probably I think he has done some grammatical error. Probably he's giving an exam, because I don't think he should be expecting a result. I think he's giving his exam again.
Okay.
So let's say if he scores, the as per the eligibility. So what options does he hold? That's the query.
Well, again, given his background, he would have a lot of options available both at a diploma and a postgraduate diploma level in the fields. But depending on, has he given you a particular choice as to what he's looking for?
No, he has not specified, but I believe he would be looking at something related to his previous education.
Okay. And any job path that they've given?
Sorry, I didn't get your point, sir.
Any career path as to what they plan to, which industry do they plan to work in?
Okay, so he's looking for brand management, like digital marketing or brand management.
Yeah, so marketing research, marketing management, brand management, all of them would be suitable. The requirements would remain the same, but again, the IELTS will have to be increased. That is one thing over here, and the intake that I think you should absolutely look for now is January and not September, because these programs are waitlisted in September.
Right, right. Vineetji, I'm so sorry. Could you just retouch the IELTS requirement for him? Just if you
Sure,
can
6.5 bands overall with no bands less than 6.
I think that would be it, Vineetji.
Okay.
Most of the members present have got the answers, and all the students specifically have got their answers.
Great. So we can conclude if you want.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank
Okay.
you so much for your time.
All the very best. And like I said, if any other questions also come up, students can get in touch with us, and we'll be more than happy to help them out and see the best that we can do. All I would like to say is that stay positive, and all that's going to happen now is that your plans to go to Canada would only be delayed a little bit, but there is not going to be any other negative impact as such on the plans. So simply just stay positive, and that's going to be the right mantra for you now.
Pyramid, Visa for a better life.